Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to go for some questions from Capgemini test, the test that was conducted this year for the upcoming batch. And the test, as we know for Capgemini, the online written test that we're talking about, it is conducted in different sections. So the first section that they give you is a pseudocode section where you'll have to code according to your comfort, where you can use the language that you want. You can choose between C, C++, Java, SQL, and all the different programming languages that you know. Next section that you have, it is a programming MCQ section that they deal with. That is, they'll give you questions based on data structure, OOPS, then Java, SQL, scripting, all those things. They'll give you questions, and you'll have to answer accordingly. Next section that they have introduced is a English portion where they'll be checking your proficiency of the language and how good you are with your English, written and verbal both. The last section that they have introduced is a gamified aptitude portion where they'll be asking you questions of aptitude but with a little difference. That is, they'll be giving you games and accordingly you'll have to answer all the questions that has been asked to you. Okay. Now, the thing with the test this year was it was given in sets. So we had three sets, set A, B, and C. Out of that, I'm going to take up some questions from set A and set B from that particular paper that had come up, and we are going to very quickly see the solution of all those questions, how it was solved, how the questions could be done, and we can make it very easy. So the first question from the set. Okay, so let's talk about this question. Let's look at the question very carefully and try to see what is given in the question. In an office at various times during the day, the boss gives the secretary a letter to type, each time putting the letter on top of the pile in the secretary's inbox. When there is time, the secretary takes the letter off the pile and types it. If there are five letters in all, the boss delivers them in the order 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Which of them could not be the order in which the secretary types them? Okay, so secretary will be typing it by taking a letter from the top of the pile. Okay, let's check with respect to options because it is easier to go with respect to options in such type of questions. Option number one, option number A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the boss delivers the first, then secretary does the first letter. Boss delivers second, secretary does the second. Boss delivers third, secretary does the third, and so on up to 5. Okay, so this is a possible case, could be done. Now, let's look at the second one. Now, see, it's always the thing is it has to be delivered in the order itself. Okay, now see, boss is delivering the first letter, then delivers the second, secretary does the second one. Okay, then the boss delivers the third one, then delivers the fourth one, then secretary does the third because third is on the top. Then the boss delivers the fifth one. Secretary does the fifth. Then secretary does the first. Okay, this is also possible. Okay, now next one, 3, 2, 4, 1, 5. So the boss is delivering the first one. See, the delivery is obviously always going to start from the first letter. Okay, boss delivers the first. Then boss delivers second. Then boss delivers third. On the top of the pile there is third letter, so secretary does the third one. Below that he finds the second, does the second. Then in between, boss delivers the fourth one, secretary does the fourth one. Boss delivers the fifth one, secretary does the fifth one. Very much possible. Third case is also possible. Let's look at the fourth case. 4, 5, 2, 3, and 1. Okay, so in order for the secretary, to start from the fourth, the boss would have already delivered letters number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then only secretary would have done the fourth one. To get 5 next, the boss, if the boss is delivering 5 next, then only secretary is doing the fifth. But in that, we're not getting 2, 3, and first. So the remaining letters, they have to start with Third cannot come somewhere at the end. Third has to be somewhere in the beginning. Third has to be on the top. If this sequence has to be followed 4 and 5, followed by 2 and 1, third has to be on the top. So which cannot be followed is option D. Okay. How you have to go is it is given in the question that letter whichever boss is going to put up, it has to be delivered in the order 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So boss can put up 1, then can put up 2. Secretary picks up the top letter, types it, and then goes to the pile. Meanwhile, boss would have put up some other letter also. Secretary would pick up what is there in the top and start doing. My answer is option D. D is not possible. Next question. Six tasks and six people. Okay, given to us already. P1 and P2 do not do task T1. Okay, P1 and P2 are not going to do task T1. T2 is assigned to P3 or P4. Okay, now T2 is assigned to either P3 or P4. Each person should be assigned with at least one task. In how many ways the task can be assigned? Okay, so there are six tasks T1, T2, T3, T4, and T5. Six people P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and P6. Okay, if let's say T2 is assigned to P3 or P4, let's say for example, we're beginning with the assumption that T2 is assigned to P3. Now there are five tasks remaining and five people remaining. Five tasks and five people remaining. Now T1 is not going to do P1 and P2. T1 is not going to do P1 and P2 given already. So for T1, options remaining is P1 and P2 not done, P3 is assigned, P4, P5 or P6. So it can be three ways. Now T3 T3 can do four of the remaining whatever is remaining. So T3 can do any of the four tasks that is remaining. T2 is already assigned, so one is gone here. T1 can be assigned anything out of P4, P5, and P6. So one of them he will take up. Three will be remaining. That can go to T3. Next, if we talk about T4, T4, any one task will be assigned to T3 from here. T4 can take up any of the three tasks that are remaining. T5, T5, if we talk about T5 could be assigned to any of the two people that are remaining. Next, if I talk about T6, T6 could be assigned to any one person that is remaining out of the two that are remaining for T5. Okay, now total number of cases, if we talk about this particular assignment, 3 into 2 into 4 into 3 into 1 into 1. So total in the first case, when the task T2 was assigned to the third person, that is P3, the total combination becomes 3 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is, I'll be having this many combinations. This is if T2 is assigned to P3. But if T2 is assigned for P4, again I'm going to have the same different combinations. Only difference would be this T2 is going to be assigned to P4 and P3 would be available to take out any of the other tasks. So same arrangement is going to follow up if T2 is assigned for P4. So this arrangement is going to come up twice. What I'll do is I'll do just 1 into 2 also. So whatever arrangement was followed first, similar case once more will be followed because T2 is now assigned to P4. We had two cases. So my total number of cases becomes 144. That is, my answer becomes how many ways the task can be assigned. It can be assigned in 144 ways. Super simple, just have to be considered with the assignment of cases. Which person is not taking up which task, that has to be careful. Other than that, nothing difficult. Next question. It takes 52 days to complete an agreement deal by a certain number of men. After 17 days, 300 men are added and 21 days are reduced. How many men? were working initially. Okay, let's take initial number of people working to be X. Okay, so X men are taking 52 days to complete the task. So one man's 1 day's work of X men, if we talk about 1 day's work of X men, if they're completing the whole task in 52 days, in 1 day they'll be doing 1 by 52th of the task. After 17 days, so in 17 days, how much they would have done? They would have done 17 by 52 of the work. This much is done. If we talk about the remaining, how much work is remaining? Total work, always we know it is one. You have to do your total work, it has to be one. That is, work is either one or 100%. There is no in between. You cannot say if 50% of the work is done, complete work is done, or three-fifths of the work is done, complete work is done. No, work is either one or 100%. So remaining task is 1 minus 17 by 52, that is 35 by 52. This much work is remaining. At remaining work, 300 more men are added. Now number of men becomes X plus 300, and they have to complete the task in 52 minus 17, because 17 days has already gone and 21 days are also reduced. Work has to be done within 14 days. Okay, now let's apply the man days concept, or let's go by the chain rule. M1 D1 by W1 equals to M2 D2 by W2. Going by the method of man days, M1 D1 by W1 equals to M2 D2 by W2. So M1 X, initial days 52, divided by 1 equals to number of new men. Number of new men is X plus 30, 300. New days 14, divided by work that is remaining. W2 and W1 are the work that we have to do, divided by 35 by 52. On solving this, when we solve out all this equation, when we find the value of X from here, X comes out to be 200. Value of X comes out to be 200. That is, there were 200 men who were initially working. Important point here is to find out how much work is already completed in this 17 days and what is the remaining work. This remaining work would be done in how many days now? That is what the important thing in this question was. Okay, next question. Two gears. Two gears. One with 12 teeth and another with 14 teeth are engaged with each other. One gear is smaller and the one tooth is in smaller gear and one tooth in bigger gear marked, and initially those two marked teeth are in contact with each other. Okay, starting point is two teeth are contacting each other. After how many rotations of the smaller gear with the marked teeth in the other gear will again come in contact for the first time? Okay, now the two gears who were in touch with teeth marked at some point, they are now rotated. So number of rotations we need, after how much time will they again be in touch? The number of rotation of the two wheels. The number of rotations, how much they're going to do, it is actually inversely proportional to the number of teeth the wheel has. So if I'm talking about the two wheels, how many revolutions they're going to make or how many rotations they're going to make, it is going to be inversely proportional to the number of teeth the wheels has. Okay, if I talk about the ratio of teeth, it is 12 is to 14, that is 6 is to 7. Okay, now the ratio of number of rotations, inversely proportional to the number of teeth, so it will be 7 is to 6. So 12 was for the smaller, 14 was for the bigger. So if you do the reverse, it becomes 7 is to 6. So the two mark wheels, they're going to meet after both the wheels they have done an integral number of rotations. They have done an integral number of rotations. It cannot be some. fraction that is going to come up for both of them. No, we need to have an integral number of notations. So the integer number of rotation that they're going to come up. So for the smaller wheel, it is going to be 7 rounds, after which they're going to meet up. So it has to be an integral number of rotations. That is, after 7 rounds for the smaller wheel, they're going to meet up. Okay, they're asking me about the minimum number. So after first 7 rounds, they would meet up. Next, if they ask me in the question that after how many times would they meet for the second time, you can say 7 into 2, that is 14 for the smaller gear we're talking about. If we talk about the bigger gear, it would be 6 rounds first, followed by 12, and so on. So integers, in terms of the ratio that we have, we can always find out. My answer is option A. Next question. Four couples who go for a honeymoon together at one of the places, they have to cross a river, but there is only one boat that is available. Wives are jealous and they don't like their husbands traveling with other women. Husbands are also possessive and they don't like their wives traveling with other men. The minimum, the number of minimal possible ways in which they will cross the river are. Okay, now this is a question that comes up a lot of time, and it's a little critical question. So we are going to go by the method where what we're going to do is, let's say that women I'm representing by circles and men I'm representing by alphabets. Okay, so its first couple is circle A, circle B, circle C, circle D, four couples. Okay, so let's assume that the first couple crosses the river. So let's assume for the first couple how they're going to cross the river. So similarly will be followed for the other couples also. So first couple when they cross, so what will happen is, let's say that it's, and one thing has to be clear, that wife of one person cannot travel with the husband of other person, and husband of other person cannot travel with wife of some other person. So it's like either there are two males that are traveling together or there are two females that are traveling together. No couple of the other couple can travel together. So wife of A cannot travel with husband of B. That has to be kept in mind. So first what we can do is, first let's say both the husbands, husband A and husband B, they go to the other side. Okay. So A and B, they're going to the other side. No violation. It is not said that two husbands cannot travel together. So A and B, they go to the other side. Now what will happen? B stays on the other side and A comes back. B is staying there and A comes back. Now, when A comes back, A takes his wife with him to the other side. A takes his wife to the other side. Okay, so A and 0, they become complete. Now, when A goes to the other side, B, he will come back. B comes back. Okay, now B comes back. In 4 steps, the couple AO, A circle, is left on the other side. So it took us, so now see, this step is not where the transportation is complete. B has to come to the other side, because it is said that no, if you are, it's a couple, the couple has to be alone. Okay, you cannot have some other men on the other side. Okay, so in this 4 steps, it is seen that one couple, let's say this first couple BAO, has reached to the other side. So it took 4 steps for one couple. Okay. Now, similarly, we'll follow up for B also. B will do the same method. He'll take C to the other side, then will come back, take his wife to the other side. C will come back. All that will follow up. So it is said that for one couple, there are 4 ways or 4 steps that are followed. So for 4 couples, how many steps can I follow up? I'll be following 16 steps to go to the other side. So minimum number of possible ways in which they will cross the river, it is going to be 16. Next question. An engineer undertakes a project to build a road of 15 meters long in 300 days and employs 45 men for the purpose. After 100 days, he finds only 2.5 kilometers of the road has been completed. Find the approximate number of men he must employ to finish the work in time. Okay, 45 men already working. Let X be the total number of men required to finish the task in next 200 days. See, 100 days already gone. So number of days that are going to be remaining is 300 minus 100, that is 200 days. So in 200 days, the work needs to be completed. Okay, 2.5 kilometers is already done. So remaining work is actually 15 minus 2.5, that is 12.5 kilometers of the road needs to be built up. Okay, so again we can go for the man days concept, or what we can do is the we know that proportion of men to distance is direct proportion, proportion of men to days is inverse proportion. So as many men will be there, they'll be covering more distance. So if number of men increases, distance covered will go on decreases. And if number of men will also increase, days required, it will go on decreasing. So what we can do is I can do x into 2.5 into 200 is equals to 45 into 12.5 into 100. Okay, number of days, men, everything we have put up. So when we find out the value of x from here, it will come out to be 112.5. We can either apply the chain rule, or we can go by the Manday's concept, that is m1 d1 by w1 equals to m2 d2 by w2. Both of them are going to be same, both of them are going to give the same answer. So x comes out to be 112.5, approximated to 113. Total number of men is 113. Extra involved is 113 minus 45, that is 68. So I needed 68 more men to do the task. My answer is 68. Next question. How many fives will be there in the number 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3 till 363, 56? That is what the question is given to me. Okay, so it's actually 121, 122, 123 written in the format up to 356. Okay, so if we talk about first 125, 135, 145, these three numbers only. So we are going to have three fives here. Because we need a total number of five, we are going to divide it. Next, if I talk about 150 to 159, there will be 11 fives because it will be 150, 151, 152. Then there will be 155 where there will be two fives and 159. Okay, 11 fives are going to be in this range. Next, again 165, 175, 185, 195. Going to be four fives. Next, so in this we have total 11 plus 3 plus 4, that is 18 fives until now we have. Next, 201 to 300, 201 to 300, 205, 215, 225, 235, 245. We have 5 fives. Next, 250 to 259 will be having similarly like it was for 150 to 159, 11 fives. Next, 265, 275, 285, 295, there are going to be four fives. On adding up, this becomes 20 fives already. Next, if we talk about 301 to 356, 301 to 356, similarly, there are going to be 13 fives because again it is 301 to 356, it's 305, then 315, 325, and 325, 335, and then there will be 355 and 356. That way it will be sorted out. Okay, so total I'm going to have 13 here. So total number of fives here becomes this 13 plus this 18 plus 20, my answer comes out to be 13 plus 18 plus 20, that is 51 fives. So adding up all these fives will have the total number of fives in the range is 51. Important thing here is you need to always divide it into sections and get the answer. Okay, next question. Car A leaves C at 5 p.m. and drives at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. 2 hours later, another car B leaves city C and drives in the same direction as car A. In how much time will car B be 9 kilometers ahead of A? Okay, speed of A given to us 40, B given to us 60. Okay, distance covered by A in 2 hours. Distance covered by A in 2 hours, it is 40 kilometers per hour. In 2 hours, it is going to cover 80 kilometers. Now, distance covered by me, so that B, so that he is 9 kilometers ahead of A, it will be 80 plus 9, that is 89 kilometers. He needs to be at a distance of 89 kilometers. Now, relative speed of A and B. If we talk about relative speed of A and B, two objects traveling in the same direction, relative speed is VA difference VB. So whichever is greater, subtract the smaller from it, will have the relative speed. Relative speed in this case is 60 minus 40, that is 20 kilometers per hour. I know. Time. Time is distance upon speed. Time taken by car B to be 9 kilometers ahead of A, that is to cover 89 kilometers, with a relative speed of the system, that is 20 kilometers per hour, becomes 89 by 20, that is 4.45 kilo 454 4.45 hours. So my answer to this question is 89 divided by 20, that is 4.45 hours. Very simple. Only thing that we have to keep in mind is 9 kilometers ahead of A. That is, in 2 hours, how much distance A has traveled plus 9 to that. That is the distance the other person or the other car has to cover up with. And if you travel in the same direction, your relative speed becomes VA difference VB. Okay, next question. Two-thirds of the ball in a bag are blue, the rest are pink. 5/9 of the ball of the blue ball and 7/8 of the pink ball are defective. Find the total number of balls in the bag if the non-defective ball is 146. Okay, total number of balls, let it be X. Two-third of are blue balls. So blue balls becomes 2 by 3. And pink. So accordingly, if two-third is blue, pink will be X by 3. Okay, total number of defective balls. Total number of defective balls, 5/9 of the blue, that is 5 by 9 into 2 by 3x, that is 10 by 27x. These are the blue defective balls. And 7 by 8 of the pink, that is 7 by 8 into x by 3, that is 7x by 24 balls. These are the pink which are defective. Okay, now these are the defective number of balls. So non-defective, total defective number of balls, 7x by 10x by 27 plus 7x by 24. That is 143x by 216. These are your total defective balls. So right now we were calculating defective balls, but they have given me total number of non-defective balls. So non-defective will be x minus 143x by 216. That is, and when you will find out this, they have given me the total number of non-defective balls is 146. Equate it to 146. Equate x minus 143x by 216 to 146. On solving this, you will find out your value of x comes out to be 432. Important thing here was finding that two-thirds of the ball, let's say total ball is x, two-thirds of them are blue, you have pink, then you have defectives, that how many of a particular color are defective. Next thing that was very important is they have given you number of non-defective balls. So you have to do it x minus 143x by 216. Whatever fraction you get as the defective, Total minus that fraction has to be done, then only you would get the answer, otherwise your answer would be wrong. Okay, next question. 26ab5, it is a 5 digit number which is divisible by 25. If the number formed by two digits a and b is a multiple of 13, then what is the number a b that we have to find? Okay, easy one. So to determine if a number is divisible by 25, the number found by the last two digits, that is this b and 5, it has to be either 00, 25, 50, or 75. This is only what it can be. Okay, so the value of b that is possible, the value of b that can be possible is 2, 5, or 7. Value of b that can be possible is 2, 5, or 7, because one value is already given to us, it is 5. So values that can be possible is 2, 5, or 7. Okay, now what we're going to do? We're going to go with respect to options. So now we're going to put up the options. Let's go for the options. What can be the options? With respect to that, we can very easily solve it. Okay, so option A, we're going to put out A is equals to 5, B is equals to 2. Okay, now putting A equals to 5, B equals to 2, number becomes 2, 6, 5, 2, 5. Divided by 25 if we do this. Comes out to be 1061. Okay, division is also perfect, and 52 is a multiple of 13 also. But let's check other option as well. Now we have 65. Important thing here is, even if the number that I'm going to form out with a and b, even if it satisfies the condition that it is a multiple of 13, the number has to be perfectly divisible by 25 also. Okay, so now if some students, what they can do is, they can see 52 and 65 both as the multiples, they'll try to mark both as the answer, but it can be only one of them. So you'll have to put and check if the number is divisible by 25 or not. Okay, next, 26655 divided by 25. Obviously, not divisible by 25. Next, 26105. Not divisible by 25. So 65 is also not my answer. 10 is also not my answer. 26255 divided by 25. Again, not my answer. Okay. So my answer to this particular question, it is option A. How? Even if the number that is found by a and b, it is multiple of 13, but we have to check it is it in form of whether it is the number that it is forming, it has to be divisible by 25 also.